Yes, so good to have you here today.
Great to be here. Thank you.
And it's so good to have you as a part of the Promise Program.
Yeah, I'm excited.
We just met a couple of weeks ago, and you came in for an interview and you turned things out. You
Appreciate
said,
that.
this young man is doing it.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, why you do what you do.
So my name is Sean Powell. I'm Executive Director of Investigator Foundation. It's a community-based organization and a student organization on different college campuses. The college students go out to the community and mentor and tutor the youth in the surrounding community with our program that we call the Young Business Builders Program. So that program is designed to turn passions into profit. So those college students get matched with the youth based on their talents, hobbies, skills, and interests. And they pretty much teach the youth what they're learning in college right away. And then they actually make it realistic, profitable, and socially responsible and create businesses at the end of the program. So for me, it pretty much shows that you can get over any barrier, any symptom of illness or symptoms of the barriers themselves, and kind of overcome, and be able to provide for yourself and your family doing something that you love to do. So that's really kind of what I'm about. That's kind of the lifestyle that I came from. That's what I'm trying to build. So it's a little bit about me.
Yeah, and it's such a wonderful story, and kind of, it's how things kind of fall in place in life. The way you came to do this, what you do now. Tell us a little bit of that story, how it got started.
It's pretty interesting. I'm just, a basketball player, in my spirit. So it seemed as though basketball opened up all of these doors for me. As a youth myself, I just played basketball growing up, so I went to many different neighborhoods and met many different people of different backgrounds, and kind of had to represent for myself and kind of gain a name of respect for myself, so that grew a bit of tenacity and resilience for me. And then within my family, my mother became a foster mother. I was 10 years old, and she began fostering different children, so I had about 12 different brothers and sisters, until I left for college at 17. So that was about 7 years of experience there dealing with the behavioral, mental health, foster care population, as an assistant to my mother, as their brother. So I inevitably grew some, skills in dealing with others, and their symptoms and illnesses, and many of them were similar to my own family, so they felt like family. And just that, vibe of treating others like your family, began to grow. So that's where it all kicked off at.
That's great. And then there was something that happened at the state level and all.
Yes. So I began mentoring and tutoring when I went to VCU. So I left high school at Deep Creek High School. Shout out Deep Creek, Chesapeake, Virginia. So I went to VCU in Richmond 2007, right when I left high school. And I began playing basketball in the community and mentoring and tutoring young men through basketball. And that became something that introduced me to the mental and behavioral health field because of the therapeutic day treatment facility where I was playing basketball as an intervention tool for the youth there. So that I was just getting educated like inevitably, and didn't realize in the experience I had with my mother, it all kind of compiled, and I seen basketball as my intervention tool that I use for myself and for my brothers and sisters that lived with me, and then coming out to a brand new community and doing the same. So just seeing our cultural impact of resilience and how that can overcome the different illnesses and barriers that we have, that was something that I kind of held near and dear, while I grew and learned. So it came at a time where Hurricane Matthew came up, and I was pretty much, tasked with, trying to figure out how to help that, environment that was impacted the most. Because my sister lived there. It was Swanson Homes down in Portsmouth, Virginia, project area where, a lot of different families didn't have many resources to run to after, the area got flooded. So they were stationed in hotels, for months, So my sister and her brand new baby and my niece and her brand new baby and my nephew, they were all in hotels and, just kind of going through it. So me personally, I'm giving them the support that I can. But I'm just like, what about all the other families that are, in that same neighborhood that are in the same situation? And so being in Richmond, I have kind of like access to, the capital, you know, and to people that can probably make some calls for the state. So I went to the Virginia Department of Emergency Management in partnership with the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services, and looked to see what kind of, you know, statewide disaster behavioral health service plan of some sort that they had in place, and there wasn't one in place at the time. And so SAMHSA put out a grant for our state to provide those services in the event of that hurricane, you know, Matthew. But we missed out on it because we didn't have a plan, you know, at the Department of Emergency Management. So I seen that gap, you know, and I began to develop a plan because I was personally affected by it with my family.
Right.
So I went back to the workforce, you know, and I partnered with them, and they paid for me to go to VCU and develop this plan and get a psychology degree with it. So I developed the plan, they signed off on it, and I took it to the State Council of Higher Education of Virginia. They signed off on it, so now any member of Engagement Foundation, you know, can be enrolled on this disaster behavioral health response team for the state, so that they can be called upon when there's another declared disaster. So that's on a big scale, but my whole purpose of it was to take it on a small scale and be able to train anybody in this and have them have this certification where they can be employed to serve, you know, the community right next to them, you know, with at least psychological first aid for people that are peer recovery support specialists coming out of jail or have been through mental behavioral health services and been discharged, made it through successfully. Now they can be trained and certified and employed to give that service back to others in the event of a crisis, emergency, disaster. You know, so those are some things on a big scale for our community, our culture. You know, we know how we experience and be resilient through trauma, and many times it's not as clinically, you know, sanctioned as we want it to be or need it to be given the services that, you know, can help. So now we can help ourselves. That's pretty much the idea of that. So in the aspect of male development and male violence prevention, I'm a black African-American male, you know, in this society, so I know what it's like to grow, you know what I mean, in this society. And so now I'm being more focused on that aspect. Now we've taken care of some mental health, behavioral health, the kids, entrepreneurship. Our team is running that part. And now me personally, I have a task to do for the African-American males out here. So, you know, and a task to do for where I came from, the 757 area. You know, so I'm excited to expand everything I've been working on, everything I've been doing, you know, for us, you know, and for people just like me, you know. So that's a little bit about how it all came to where we are now.
I love it, I love it. So how did you get attracted to the Promise program? Now this is going to be your first time around with us.
Yes.
So you're already like a part of the family.
Yes, appreciate it, appreciate
yes.
it. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you, you know, and like congrats. Hats off, salute, you know, I commend you for this, you know what I mean, and not only just for sticking your neck out and doing it, because now it's cool to do, and I appreciate it being cool to go out and help people, but it takes another step to help people on this level, you know, to get the research done, to get the paperwork done, get the strategies, to get some fun, to get other people to buy into it, that's another level, so like, really hats off to you for that, you know what I mean,
that's so
for
nice
real.
of you to say.
You know, and so y'all been doing it for so long, and it's evidence-based at this point. So y'all proving that it works, and you're gonna keep waving the flag. So for me, you got my support 100%. I got your back. You know, and so with this expansion, you know, piece for me, I have children. I'm a young father, so I have two children, one in Chesapeake and one in Virginia Beach. Now I've been in Richmond building this thing the whole time. You know, my son's 10th birthday just passed. I went down to, you know, his school, Princess Anne Elementary, took him some Chick-fil-A for lunch. Man, he looked me in my eyes and was like, you know, Dad, I think it's time for you to come home now. And now my son is like very, you know, low sympathy, low empathy, you don't really show much feelings and stuff. So when he said that to me, it kind of hit me, you know. So from then on, I just been like, all right, I got to expand everything down to the 757 area as fast as possible. And I literally started picking up and driving down and just making partnerships, looking through my phone book of all my friends, old friends and parents and everybody, and see what positions they're in these days and if they can do something that's in line with what I'm doing. You know, and so we had an event called 757 Dads. You know, we partnered with EVMS, we partnered with Loving Steps, we partnered with, you know, Norfolk State. You know, we had this event. And I invited a lot of people that were in my network from in Richmond dealing with family and fatherhood initiatives. And Mr. Brian Hawkins pretty much got trickled down to throughout, that reach out.
Right.
Brian Hawkins and Mr. Phil White. If people don't know, in Virginia, those two are known as the godfathers of this family and fatherhood work in the state of Virginia.
Absolutely.
And so we had this event, and I was just trying to let people know I'm coming to 7-5, try to expand this thing. And lo and behold, both of them showed up. So for me, just knowing the network, I was like, oh snap, like they both here, like all right. So I might be, able to make some noise now and really make this expansion happen. And from there on, Brian was like, I got you, and he started plugging me into things that he knew aligned with me, trying to come home and be with my kids, trying to become a, positive, African-American male in society. And he's like, let me put you in this position to keep doing that and get close to your kids. So that's always a difficulty in being a community-based entrepreneur, trying to find some money that's going to help people. Like a lot of times you got to go get a job and do something, and then on your spare time you got to go help people, so it's never really in line. So that's really been a difficulty the whole time.
Right.
So now it's like a blessing to be able to, this is my job. You know what I mean? I'm going to keep doing this. This is God's work. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's like no stopping it. So that's kind of what happened. Brian Hawk is the godfather, and Phil White, they teamed up, and got me in position. So I appreciate them for introducing me to you. Sure.
Thank you. So this Saturday, you all are having the training, right?
Yes.
So then you really learn even more about the program. But what do you know about the Promise Program? You want to say anything about what you know about the Promise Program now and why you think it's working so well?
Right. So far, I've learned, just the perspective that I've been kind of holding in on my own is just like, the reason why our culture is behind, is because the black male's been gone, been locked up or dead, and so with that aspect, just knowing that, as a truth in our culture, seeing these men pour in and hearing them testify of the changes that they've witnessed, in their mentees throughout these 5 years, it's like, all right, they know it's working now. They know the power and the impact that they have being present. I appreciate that. And I want to learn that, as much as I can, because I'm a little more relatable right now at this point with the youth. So a lot of the cool things that we do, the fashion shows, the clothing lines, the art and the music, all that stuff that we do, gravitating to get the youth to want to do business is great. Now I need to also get them to realize, adulthood, manhood, even womanhood, motherhood, fatherhood, for all of the youth. But for this program in particular, black males like me, you know what I mean? Young fathers like me. I have two, children's mothers. They're two different mothers, but they both get along. We all get along. I don't get to hear that often from older male, black African American males that have 2 or 3 different children's mothers. A lot of times it's drama. So I'm able to show a difference to the youngers, just because they see how I interact with, my kids' mothers and things of that nature, social media, all that. I show them as much love as I can, so just little things like that is what I see being encouraged by the older gentlemen, that are mentoring me. So, just seeing that in the Promise Program, I'm like, oh, this is going to be dynamic. And that's what I learned from them. So they teaching this on a mass level in D.C. and down here in the 757 area. Like, it's going to start to trickle. It's going to affect, and it's going to see it over time. Like, it's 5 years, 10 years from now, when somebody's reached a whole decade from being started with this, it's going to be amazing to see how far they've come. So that's what, motivates me to, keep inspiring that flame to be lit, in others. So,
You're incredible.
I appreciate it. I really do.
So,
I get excited about it.
With what you have been doing over the last several years, how do you think we can partner that with the Promise Program? You have any ideas about that?
Yes. That's crazy you just said that. I did not expect that. Okay. So, like I said, I went to VCU. It's not an HBCU. I'm black. So,
really?
It's like I need to strategically and humbly and not so aggressively, or how can you say, intimidating, go for my people. I need to. And so before now, I've been doing that slightly, or very lightly, very subtly, and so. And then I never wanted to shut out any other population, as reason being, because VCU is such a diverse place. It opened me up to diversity. I've never seen that many nationalities, in my life before going to VCU. Yeah. So it made me appreciate that, what I mean? Yeah. But it also kind of took me away of focusing on, our oppression, focusing on solutions for us.
Exactly.
And so, just over time, I'm now appreciative of what I've done and allowing that to keep going, and I can take a step back and all right, put another focus on, this core of my life, and my upbringing as a black male, in society. So like the partnership piece is where now Engage the Foundation, workshop, Young Business Builders program can have a focus on African American males without being looked at as an organization that's only focused on African American males.
Exactly.
Now it has a program within it in partnership with it that is focused on African American males. So every African American male that signs up for our Young Business Builders program that has a mental health illness that's partnered with us as far as their agencies, their clients of, that's coming from the schools or coming out of jails or any of them, they now can be in a promise program, partnership of Engage the Foundation. You know what I'm saying? And now the data can continue to be tracked on how the African American males can benefit from these different, activities and resources that are being provided from, the Promise program. So like that's, one aspect. Then on the other aspect, our Young Business Builders program, we're trying to put it into the public schools so that it's something normal. We're actually in the process of creating it as a school itself. We have some land in Africa. We're going to build over there and do study abroad over there with our program. But before we get to that point, we want to go ahead and use what we have. So we know we've been working in Ballou High School in DC. It's right around from Howard. So now you guys are at Howard. Our formula is using the students to go and impact the kids. So the Promise program, those kids at Ballou, we can make that connection and give them the resources and tools that we have to continue running it and add to the data and statistics of seeing them grow. You know what I mean? So that's on our end, even in both locations of where the Promise program is right now and how we're structured. Then we of course partner with the workforce, because I was a guinea pig, so now I know how to partner with the workforce. We allow the kids to go through the workforce that are eligible, age range and all the background, all those different things. We allow the college students to go enroll with workforce if they're eligible. So people get paid doing this. You know what I mean? So it's like now you can get paid for helping people, and it's really something that you can be passionate about and feel good about as your job. So that's another way that we were thinking about how we can work together. And then lastly, really providing, that follow-up of sustainability, after they finish the program. So in our Young Business Builders program, for example, they finish with a business. Maybe it's not a finished business, like they can just start making money right away, but they at least have a pitch deck that they can pitch to an investor or pitch to someone that can help them finalize it and make it much better. Right? So imagine at the end of the Promise program, all these African American males starting businesses. For their families to thrive off of, regardless of their backgrounds academically, the various, with any criminal history that they may have, any behavioral mental health history they may have, anything. They can start their own thing, and have our platform to use to grow it. Our workshops to use as their retail space, their business office space, our web-based platform to use it to grow with. So we're going to really, really push this comeback, per se, of the African American male, in the everyday society. We do have some highlights, shout out to, all the African American males in the community, in the world that are out there representing. Salute to Nipsey Hussle, salute to everybody that's following that wave, but now it's, also time for us that's really in the trenches to be doing this too, so that once we do get on the screen and get in the camera, it's easy to go ahead and promote for ourselves, and it don't seem like we backtracking from what we were signed up to do, in the first place. So I'm excited. This is we call it shifting the culture, and I really feel it happening right now. So,
and I'm so thankful for you, and I'm so inspired by you. You're brilliant.
Thank you so
You're
much.
passionate. Great ideas. and you're making it happen. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to say?
I really just want to say thank you. You know, we all know men can't do anything without women. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, without you and without women like you, like, we wouldn't even have the audacity, the courage, you know what I'm saying, to even go out here and get, you know, in position. You know what I'm saying? So, really appreciate that. You know, you're a queen for sure.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And look, we have to increasingly recognize and appreciate the brilliance of black men.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you.
and the
Yes,
resilience
we
of
do.
black men.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, thanks again.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Okay.
Oh man, I get really excited about this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you know, my parents, my grandparents, any elders I see, they always talk about you hear the jadedness. You know, they like, you know, I know it should be like this, I know it should be like that. You know, y'all got it all wrong out here. You know what I mean? But it's like they just, it's in a tone of giving up.
Yeah, can't get
It's in a tone of it's done. You know what I mean? It's not like, you know, they want to see. They don't think that they can see it change in their lifetime. You know, if they are still trying and they know it can change eventually, they'll be like, yeah, I'm just doing this so my kids can have this. You know, they ain't gonna have it in my lifetime. I'm trying to get rid of that mentality.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm trying to make people feel like it can happen in your lifetime. Like, you can really do it now and see it change. We had a black president. Like, these happen in our lifetime. There's more things like that can happen in our lifetime. You know what I mean? Like, it could be more realistic now. You know, so, and then history-wise, you know, this 400 years about to be up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In August of this year. My birthday, August 31st, ironically.
Okay.
You know, the last day of August. So I'm like, you know, I just think about little stuff like that. You know, not that it is the end all be all, you know, for me or whatever, but it's just little motivational thoughts that I keep. You know what I mean? To encourage me, like, all right, yeah, the end of 400 years up. So let's like encourage people to go harder and faster and smarter, you know, and more together and unity, so it's stronger, you know. And that's just how I'm moving right now. You know what I'm saying? So this is all perfect timing.
I got your back,
You know,
your side, and
let's
everything,
go.
you know, because we do. You know, this is work. We have to step up and do it, and we can do it. And some of the things that need to be done in this world, only we can do it. And we have to realize that. If we know that, within ourselves, and we find each other, those of us who realize that and work together, there's nothing we can do.
Exactly.
And with the Lord, of course.
I'm going to throw this out there, too. You know, there's a lot of, so within that jadedness comment I just made, right? Our culture as a whole, we get jaded, right? About the oppression, right? And we're just like always complaining, like, government ain't helping us, blah, 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 all that stuff, right? And a lot of it's true, you know, they trying to kill us and all types of stuff. A lot of it does be true, you know what I'm saying? And then I look at it and like, all right, there's so many wealthy minorities. And there's so much land still available on this planet. We don't got to keep complaining about this one. Like I said, we got land in Africa, like 100 acres being held for us. It only costs 30 G's to build over there. You know what I mean? That's 17 million in their money. Like, if we could understand that, like, come on now. There's islands out here right now going for 3 million. You know. That's not a lot. If we can understand that, it's like, come on now. You know, we can put credit together, this family and this family, 3 million to be done. You know, we can go start our own land where we want to live by our own love, you know what I'm saying, the laws that keep us together. You know what I'm saying? Like, little things like that are like on a whole nother level that is actually more realistic these days. And I just learned that from going on my first cruise ever, you know, to the Bahamas, you know, and we get on the actual native land of Bahamas. They're like, you only got an hour. Like, an hour? You can't all y'all here
for an hour?
You know, so I'm trying to mingle with all the natives. Like, I'm like, yo, bro. And like, what? I'm like, I don't know, but I feel like I'm home. You know? And then we get off there and go to this Coco Cay Island. And we get there and it's all beautifully done up and renovated and everything's nice, and you get off the boat and you got to show your boat card to get on the island, and then you can't use any money. You got to use your boat card to buy anything. I'm like, hold up. So this boat on the island, like, so I'm on vacation looking up like islands. Like, how much these islands cost just to be making money like this? Where I can't even get on this island without a boat card. I'm like, why we can't do that? I actually have a boat license. I went into the military for 6 years. I could drive a boat myself. I'm like, so I can get a boat, they get an island, they start a cruise company. Like, or we can just have an island where we can live and be good and not have to be complaining. Hold up, what are we thinking about? Then I look at Akon. You know what I'm saying? And the things that he do, he's lighting up Africa, putting out light up. They got $1 billion credit line to put lights in. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's about your credit, it's about what you're trying to do it for. You ain't even gotta have the money. You gotta have the purpose. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if we could get our people to understand this, oh my God.
Yeah.
So the earlier the better.
Yeah.
You know, let's go talk to the youngins.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let them know their power. You know, see a little bit, you know, role models. You know, have fun with the culture still. Be swagged out. You know, turn up. You know, be lit. You know, be dominant. You know, kill all sports that we've been doing. You know, but there's other things we need to do too, not just entertain. You know what I mean? We gotta take care of real life. There's
we got
a
all the human resources, we got all the financial resources in our community to make a difference. We just have to really step up and do it. And it's not that we don't want to work with our non-black brothers and sisters as well.
Everybody,
to help,
everybody.
But we can't be looking outside of ourselves for solutions to our own problems.
We
have the solutions, and we got the power. You know, we gotta realize that.
I'm so excited right now. My God, I got chills going down my body. You know? But yeah, it's fun. It's fun. You know, it's definitely fun. And that last part that you said though is really what makes it unstoppable. Letting everybody know that they can have a part in it too, not just for black people. You know what I'm saying? It's for everybody. Everybody needs to feel this love. You know what I'm saying? Everybody needs to feel this power within themselves. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's the part that's divine and make people not even want to go against it.
Exactly.
Because it's for everybody at the end of the day.
Everybody.
You know what I mean? So, that's cool.